So hello there, everyone. We are back at reading passage two, and the reading passage is pretty interesting, I would say. This is a very intriguing question. Why being bored is stimulating and useful too. Pretty much, very basic kind of questions. I'm not gonna necessarily say that this requires for you to understand the full passage, but despite the fact that list of headings will have to, will force you to understand the big picture of a particular paragraph. So on the other hand, um, why is this like that? So I don't know this if. I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay. On the other hand, we also have questions that are pretty much classification. We just have to match the ideas. And I believe that these names they come in order. So what I'm gonna do here is real quickly. I'm gonna take a highlighter. So I'm gonna take a highlighter. We have Peter Tuhi, Thomas Goetz. We have Thomas Goetz. What else? What else do we have? We have John Eastwood. We're okay. John Eastwood. Okay, for Eastwood again, we have another Eastwood's team, and we have Francois what Wemmelsfelder. Okay, we have that. Anyways, yeah. All right. So what do we have? List of question. Other than that, we have response to freedom. For John Eastwood, the central feature of boredom is that people cannot. Okay, I think we can do that pretty quickly. Psychologist John Eastwood at York University in Toronto, Canada, isn't convinced. If you're in a state of mind wondering if you're not bored, he says, in my opinion, by definition, boredom is an undesirable state. That doesn't necessarily mean that this isn't adaptive. So I'm gonna close the. We have some dogs barking outside. That doesn't necessarily mean that this isn't adaptive yet. Pain is adaptive. If we didn't have a physical pain, bad things would happen to us. Does that mean that we should actively cause pain? No, but even if boredom has evolved to help us survive, it can't still be toxic if allowed to fester. For Eastwood, the central feature of boredom is failure to put your attention system into gear. Okay, we have an attention system. Is that people cannot do something due to a failure in what he calls something. So this causes an ability to focus on anything. So a central feature of boredom is that people cannot focus. They cannot focus due to a failure, what he calls attention system. For Eastwood's central feature of boredom is a failure to put your attention system into gear. This causes an ability. Inability means failure in. Inability to is a failure in. So yeah, we have a pretty interesting way to paraphrase it. This is like adjective, noun, and so on. All right. His team suggests that those for whom something is an important aim in life may have problems in coping with boredom, whereas those who have the characteristic of something can generally cope with it. All right, and we have Eastwood's team is now trying to explore why attention system fails. It's early days, but they think that at least some of it comes down to personality. Okay, some of that comes for personality. Boredom proneness has been linked with a variety of traits. People who are motivated by pleasure seem to suffer particularly badly. Okay, people who are motivated for pleasure. People who are motivated, his team suggests that those for whom something is an important aim in life. So motivated is an important. So for whom pleasure is an important aim. Motivated by pleasure. So we have pleasure may have problems in coping with boredom, whereas those who have the characteristics of something can generally cope with it. So, okay, another one. So this one was question number 25. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna give this a 25. All right. Other personalities such as curiosity are associated with a high boredom threshold. More evidence that boredom has detrimental effects comes from studies of people who are more or less prone to boredom. It seems those who more easily face poorer prospects in education. So like characteristics of curiosity curiosity. We have a curiosity. So This is what they're saying. We have the whoops. Can we like highlight that normally, please? Thank you. So we have that 26. Pretty quickly, guys. This is a really easy one. I thank God they're not asking for us to choose a synonym for a particular word. All right, now, moreover, now we have a Peter to he. All right, we all know how it feels. It's possible to keep your mind on anything. Time stretches out, and all things you could do seem equally unlikely to make you feel better. But defining boredom is that it can be studied in the lab has proven difficult. Okay, we have this part. For a start, it can include a lot of other mental states such as frustration, apathy, depression, and indifference. There isn't even agreement over whether boredom is always a low energy, flat kind of emotion, or whether feeling agitated, and restless counts as boredom. Too, in his book Boredom: A Lively History, Peter Tohey at the University of Calgary, Canada, compares it to disgust, an emotion that motivates us to stay away from certain situations. If disgust protects humans from infection, boredom may protect. So, if disgust protects humans from infection, boredom may protect them from infectious social situations. Okay, so Peter, so he said that in social situations and uncomfortable conversations. So Peter too, he the way we live today may encourage boredom. One sort of boredom is worse than all others. Levels of boredom may fail in the future. Trying to cope with boredom can cause increase. Boredom may encourage us to avoid unpleasant experience. There we go. We have number E. We have E. So I'm gonna remove that. Now, so paragraph A is basically talking about um, paragraph A is saying that it's pretty much difficult to use scientific approach. So be as we have here, number four. So I'm gonna take and write number four. Um, because a problems with scientific approach means it is already stated here, but defining boredom so that it can be studied in the lab has proven difficult. So that's where we have so like so proved difficult. All right, so now we have paragraph B. By asking people about their experience of boredom, Thomas Goetz and his team at the University of Constance in Germany have recently identified five distinct types: indifferent, calibrating, searching, reactant, and apathetic. And these can be plotted on two axes. One running left to right, which measures low to high arousal, and the other from top to bottom, which measures how positive or negative the feeling is. Okay, so some sort of some sort of classification. I believe that this is creating a system of classification of feeling boredom. Intriguingly, Goetz has found that while people experience all kinds of boredom, they tend to specialize in one. Of the five types, the most damaging is reactant boredom, with explosive combinations of high arousal and negative emotion. There we go. I think we found another answer for here because what is that? Who? Thomas Goetz. Thomas Goetz said what? Thomas Goetz said that pretty much that is one sort of boredom is worse than all others. So we have B there. Worse than all others. Is worse than all others means the most damaging reactant. The most damaging reactant is boredom. So this is we have as 20 to 21. All right. Now, um paragraph B. However, it remains to be seen whether there are any character traits that predict the kind of boredom each of us might be prone to. So yeah, paragraph B basically classification. It's classifying the types of classifying the types of how can I say the types of boredom and the kind of which one affects you and how it affects you and so on. So yeah, that's they're grouping it. So we're gonna give it a number six. All right, and me and the answer for that can be that can be can be plotted on two axes. There we go. So now I'm gonna remove that as well. Paragraph C, psychologist and Sandy Mann at the University of Central Lancashire, UK, goes further. All emotions are there for a reason, including boredom. She says, man has found that being bored makes us more creative. So now this person is giving, um, she's saying that she's giving him a more positive response to why to being bored. So we're all afraid of being bored, but in actual fact, it can lead to all kind of amazing things. Okay, so on an experiment published last year, man found that people who had been made to feel bored by copying numbers out of the phone book for 15 minutes came up with more creative ideas about how to use a polystyrene cup than a control group. Man concluded that a passive, boring activity is best for creativity because it allows the mind to wander. In fact, she goes so far as to just suggest that we should seek out more boredom in our lives. So yeah, that's there you go. We have some positives like productive outcomes. So I'm just gonna give this a number one. Whoops. I'm gonna give this a number one because it says that um so like boring activity is best for creativity. So like boring activity is best for creativity. Now, okay, I'm gonna remove that as well. C, we have done C. Psychologist John Eastwood at York University in Toronto, Canada, isn't convinced. If you're in a state of mind wandering, you're not bored, he says. In my opinion, by definition, boredom is an undesirable state. That doesn't necessarily mean that it isn't adaptive yet. Pain is adaptive. If we didn't have a physical pain, bad things would happen to us. Does that mean that we should actually cause pain? So paragraph D, basically very easy one. Another easy one is it's talking about the causes that might happen if you're seeking for a boredom. So actually, it's a mental state. You can see that. I mean, not you can just kind of imagine if you're bored, you will have some sort of very weird feelings and strange feelings, and just you start questioning a lot of things. So yeah, that is what it's saying in that paragraph. A potential danger arising from the boredom. And another reason for that is people try to connect it with the world. If they're not successful there, that frustration and irritability emerge. So that is like frustration and irritability. That's what it says. Now, John Eastwood. What did John Eastwood say? John Eastwood said, trying to cope with boredom can increase its negative effects. Yeah, pretty much that is what is he's saying because people try to connect with the world, and if they're not successful, that there's that frustration and irritability. Yeah, trying to cope with boredom can increase its negative effects. And also on the other hand, perhaps most worryingly, says Eastwood, repeatedly failing to engage attention can lead to a state where we don't know what to do anymore and no longer care. So yeah, Francois Wemmelsfelder. I'm gonna read this lastly. Psychologist Francois Wemmelsfelder speculates that our overconnected lifestyles might even be a new source of boredom. In modern human society, there's a lot of overstimulation, but still a lot of problems finding meaning. She says. So instead of seeking yet more mental stimulation, perhaps we should leave our phones alone and use boredom to motivate us to engage with the world in a more meaningful way. Uh, the way we live today may encourage boredom. Of course, that our overconnected lifestyle might even be a new source of boredom in modern human society today. So that's not going to be an A. So another easy answer. So there we go. Um, Eastwood is now trying to explore why the attention system fails. So paragraph F is going to be new explanation, new explanation, and a new cure. That of course new new cure means to engage with the world in a more meaningful way by throwing the phones away from your life. So that's gonna be number three. Number three. So new source of boredom in modern society. In modern society, there's a lot of overstimulation, but still a lot of problems finding meaning. So instead of seeking yet more mental stimulation, perhaps we should leave our phones alone. Yeah, that's basically simple. Leave our phones alone. Leave our phones phones alone, and blah blah blah. Keeps on going. Eastwood's team is now trying to explore why the attention system fails. It's early days, but they think at least some of it comes down to personality. I've also done that, but of course, boredom itself cannot kill. It cannot kill. It's the things we do to deal with it, and that may put us in danger. What can we do to alleviate it before it comes to that? Goetz group has one suggestion: working with teenagers. They found that those who approach a boring situation, in other words, see that it's boring and stuck in anyway, report less boredom than those who try to avoid it by using snacks, TV, or social media for distraction. Yeah, I mean, let me first remove number three. Um, it's talking about the identifying those who most affected by boredom, working with teenagers by those working with teenagers, and this in other words, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's like one suggestion working with teenagers. So they're dealing with identifying those who must most affected by boredom. Approaches a boring situation. In other words, see that it's boring and get stuck in it anyway. Report less boredom than those. Then another one than those who try to avoid it using snacks and so on and so forth. How are age groups most affected by boredom? I don't think so. There's not an age group, but there's actually people. So of course, teenagers you might surmise as saying they're all the way from the age 16 to 20 or 22. However, there should be also elderly people in terms of actually understanding the word age groups. So I would say that is not a suitable answer for that. And I'm not gonna choose that. So yeah. So it's like working with teenagers, and it keeps on going by saying also then those who and blah blah blah. Age groups is not the one. What teachers can do to prevent boredom? There's nothing about teaching and so on. So yeah, there we go, guys. We finished it pretty quickly. And for John Eastwood, we found that over here. Well, we found it over in this particular paragraph. We can say that, and his team suggests means Eastwood's team. Right. We have done it. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you found it helpful, and of course, if you found it helpful, smash the like button. Of course, subscribe as well. If you didn't have any clue of how fast we did this one, you can leave a question in the comment section below. And I will actually tell you how fast you can actually do it. But you just pretty much what you have to do is that you can understand the type of question and how the questions and where did they come from. The only important thing you always have to do is that you have to find the paragraph of the question. After that, you have to read the specific location, and 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 finally you have to understand. So yeah, that's very simple. However, there are no other techniques or any other kind of, I would say, shortcuts. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next episode. Yeah, bye bye for now.